Hi friends, it's Emmy B, and today I am going to be showing you guys how I do my everyday drugstore foundation routine. Everything is drugstore, everything can be found at your local Walmart, Target, Walgreens, CVS. If you have an Ulta in your area, you should be able to find everything at Ulta, but I know that not everybody lives in a town where there's an Ulta, so you should be able to get everything that I've mentioned in this video definitely at Target and also at Walmart. Let's just go ahead and get into the video. So today I am starting out with my primer. I've already washed and moisturized my face, which your moisturizer can very well act as your primer if you want it to. I think I use that a lot of times. A lot of times I don't use a primer, but for today's video I am going to. This is the Milani Prime Perfection Face Primer. This is the hydrating one. Let's see if I can get it in frame. Yeah, so this is the hydrating one. It says that it primes skin to create a smooth canvas for makeup, hydrates and creates a natural finish, reduces redness and minimizes the look of pores, is lightweight and non-greasy. I really like this primer. I picked it up a few weeks ago in my Target haul, and I've tried it out a couple of times, and I really like it's not glowy. It doesn't have any sort of real glow, but I do like that. I just put it on my fingers. It kind of looks and smells like sunscreen, but I just put it on, tap it in, and then I start to rub. But as I'm rubbing, I'm also pushing it into the skin. But I really like this primer because I noticed that it leaves a nice tacky finish on my skin, which personally I really like. I feel like that it helps my foundation and makeup adhere to my face a bit better. So I really like this foundation foundation primer personally. All right, my hair's getting a little too much. So for foundation, this is also a new one, but also one that I've found that I really enjoy. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I'm in the shade 405 Porcelain. It's either the second or third lightest shade in the shade range, just to show you just how pale I truly am. So I just take a pump on the back of my hand, and it is quite liquidy. But I personally really like that. I'm not a big fan of super thick, heavy foundations. They certainly have a time and a place. But I feel like for an everyday sort of look, just for me personally, that's not what I prefer. And then I just go in with this Eco Tools blending sponge. I know that the Real Techniques one is everyone's favorite, but personally I prefer the Eco Tools one to the Real Techniques one, just because I feel like the Real Techniques one is much more dense, and personally I prefer this one because it's a bit more flimby, floppy. It's a lot softer, and I feel like it just feels better on my face. It's not as rough because it's not as dense. All right. I really like this foundation because it's a nice light to medium coverage. I would not say that it's full coverage because, as you can see, I still have skin poking through. You can still see my freckles in certain parts of on my face, which personally I really like. That's how I like my foundation to look. I like to still see that I have freckles and that my face still has some life to it. So there's just a little bit of product on the back of my hand. So I'm just going to pick that up on the bottom of the sponge and just kind of go around some of the areas that I feel like I could use just a little bit more, especially the tip of my nose, because that's always like my reddest area. I feel like it's right on the tip of the nose. My cat's up here. Would you guys like to see my cat? Hi, kitty. Come here. Come here. Oh, yes, I know. This is Ray. She doesn't like being held. Hey, you're fine. Her name is Ray, as in Ray from Star Wars. It was the one stipulation that I had was I had to let my husband name our cat, and my husband is more than obsessed with Star Wars. So her name is Ray, and even though she doesn't like being held, she is a fantastic kitty. She always likes to keep me company while I'm filming. But anyway, so next is concealer, and I go in with the Maybelline. I'm pretty sure this is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, but I don't have the package for it anymore, and it doesn't say on the bottle. Like, it doesn't say it anywhere. It just says like Maybelline, and then this is like the Maybelline address, and then it just has the like the color on the bottom. So this is in shade 5 Ivory, and I've used this concealer for years. I really enjoy it, and I think it's one of the better concealers at the drugstore. It's nice and light. Just add a little bit to my eyelids for eyeshadow priming. I know that not everyone agrees with using concealer as an eyeshadow primer, but I also don't know that I'm going to do eyeshadow today. I might just do a mascara sort of day. So I don't really care. So I'm just blending it out. This concealer, again, is not super full coverage concealer, but it provides enough coverage that it cancels out my darkness underneath my eyes and helps give me a nice bright glow underneath my eyes. And I don't really take like concealer everywhere. I will just kind of take what's left on my sponge and hit certain areas of my face, just because I have the type of skin that can look really cakey really fast, and so putting too many products all over my face is just sort of a recipe for disaster. So I just will like lighten with powders instead of creams, because I find that creams can look a little heavy on my skin. Sorry, I'm right-handed, so the left side of my face is just not, you just can't even see what I'm doing. So yeah, just taking what's ever left on my sponge and hitting different parts of my face. Okay, so now that I have my creams down, I'm gonna go ahead and set them. I do have dry skin, but I don't like the feeling of like leaving something tacky on my face. I just personally prefer having things set and like combating like the dry patches or anything like that with skincare rather than changing like my makeup for it. But anyway, so I go ahead and use the Maybelline Fit Me loose finishing powder. This is in the shade number 10, Fair Light. I just shake it, make sure that there's not too much in. Oh wow, there is definitely too much in the sifter, so hold please while I shake this back down into the bottom. Okay, 100 years later, we're back and it's all been sifted out, thankfully. Just gonna make sure nothing is creased. Which this foundation and concealer, I don't really notice much creasing, but I do have very crinkly under eyes, so just being on the safe side. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my powder brush. I like just like the biggest, fluffiest brush that I can find, so that way I'm not like, it's not too dense on my face, and that way I'm just getting a nice light set. Because I do have dry skin, I don't want to add a ton of powder. So just a nice big like kabuki style brush, and then just get some in the cap, put it on, and then I just start lightly buffing this into the skin. And I just keep buffing until I don't really feel any tug on my brush anymore from like product on my face. And then a technique that I use just for mainly my eye area is I get my brush, pack it with powder, not too much though. And then I don't want to like swipe my eye because that's where most of the product is, and I don't want to move that product. So I just take it and I stamp first and just do some light stamping. And then once I feel like I've got a nice base down, then I'll go through and buff it all out. And I feel like that gives me a nice smoother effect to that area than if I were to just go in and start swiping and trying to almost remove product. And then just do same thing with the other eye, stamp, do some light patting motions, and then I just do circular motions to buff out. All right, and that's that. Now that my face is very one-dimensional, let's sort of bring things back to life. So first, I'm gonna go in with blush. No, that's not the brush. And for blush, I really like, and today I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. This is the Primer Infused Blush, and this is in the shade Always Rosy. It's almost looks very similar to my top, just slightly lighter. But these blushes are really good. The original e.l.f. blushes I actually really like. And then also the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes are very, very good. They used to be in like a long square package like this. They used to be in like these sort of rectangular packages like this, but when I was at the store recently, I noticed that they've changed their packaging and now they're in circle packaging like this. But the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes are also quite good. But these Primer Infused blushes are very pigmented, so I just a little dab and then tap. You can still see I have quite a bit left on my brush, and then I just go right on the center, right on the apples of the cheeks, just because I have a very round face, so I like to bring things more in. where if you have like maybe a long, more narrow face, you'll want to kind of bring things more out here to kind of widen your face shape a little bit, but mama don't need no help with widening her face shape. So I like to focus my blush right here, right on the apples of the cheeks. And like when I get flush, like in real life, this is where most of the color is. And so I try to mimic that in my makeup because I feel like that is what makes me look the most like me. I don't try to truly like change the way I look. I just try to enhance the way that I look. And so you'll want to do things like, I mean, that's why we highlight these areas, because this is where light naturally hits your face. But you also want to look at where you naturally get flush. I get naturally flush right in the apples of the cheeks. And so that's where I like to add my blush personally. You can add your blush wherever you like, but I like it right there. Just a little dollop right in the center. And I do still sweep it back to like lift my face. I just let most of the pigmentation be right in the center. Okay, perfect. And so next we will go in with a bit of contour. I'm not super big on contour. I've noticed that because I am so fair, a lot of contour and especially bronzer just looks really muddy and orange on me. I feel like I can never really find like the perfect sort of color that like really works for my like super fair skin tone. But the only one that I have, and I just use it very lightly for contouring, is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette in Dulce de Leche. It's got a contouring shade and a brightener shade. As you can see, I've used this to death. This is the second one that I've owned. I don't use this brightener shade as much anymore. I just do my brightening with my concealing instead of with powder now. So I don't really use this, but it is a good powder, but I just use it for this product. So I'm just going in with my brush, tapping off the excess. I'm so sorry about the tapping. I know that it's probably really annoying. I use a small sort of dense brush like this to really focus it right in this area. I don't have hollowed cheekbones, so I try to make myself look like I have hollowed cheekbones. And then just sort of blend it up. Don't want to blend it down, just up. And then I do add just a little bit to my temple area. I do not contour my forehead because my forehead is already pretty small, and contouring is supposed to bring things in, make things look smaller, and that is not my goal with my forehead. I think that was one of the things that I had to learn the most is don't just because your favorite YouTuber contours their forehead doesn't mean you should contour your forehead, or because your favorite YouTuber contours their nose doesn't mean that you should contour your nose. You really have to look at your face shape and figure out what's best for you and for your face shape. Now, if you have a really small forehead and you like contouring your forehead still, then go for it. No one's stopping you. But for me personally, like, I only have a 3 head. And so I just feel like my forehead doesn't need any sort of contouring and drawing it in because I already have a small face and I don't want to make it smaller this way. Smaller this way, 100%. Smaller this way, no. My face is already quite small. And so, always just keep that in mind. That's one of those things that took me a long time to learn when doing my own makeup, because I learned how to do makeup through YouTube. I'm an only child. I didn't have older sisters. My mom is 100% not a girly girl. She doesn't even wear makeup herself. And so I had to learn how to do my makeup on YouTube. And so I just did what all of the YouTube gurus were doing, but no one explained to me how to understand my face shape and how to make my face look the best, like per my face shape. And so it took a lot of years, a lot of research, but now I finally narrowed it down to how I personally like to do my makeup and what looks best for my specific face shape, which for me is just contouring my cheeks. Sometimes I will contour down here because I don't have a very prominent jawline, as you can see. My jaw is here, and you can't really tell that, but that's one of those things that, like, I don't care. I don't care if I contour my jawline or not, and so it's not one of those things that I generally really worry about. But anyway, little rant over. Next, I go in with highlight. And I'm not a big highlight person. I'm not someone who likes to highlight to the gods. I'm a very natural sort of queen. And so my favorite natural highlight ever, like both high-end and drugstore included, is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter in number 10, Be My Highlight. And oh, just look at that sheen. It's so beautiful, and it looks just like this on the skin. It's just so pretty and so natural, and just really gives a good, like, natural glow. And it doesn't look too intense. And even though it's this like champagne-y gold, I find that it doesn't look weird on my skin. Sometimes champagne golds can be just too dark, like the gold can be too dark and the champagne color can be too dark. But with this one's actually light enough that for my super fair skin tone, it doesn't look like I have this massive stripe of highlight on my face, or it looks darker than my skin color or anything like that. It just looks super natural and really nice. So I really, really like this highlight, and I just add it right to the tops of my cheekbones. And yeah, oh, this highlight is just so pretty. It's just like a beaming, not like actually beaming, not like Jaclyn Hill beaming, just, I don't know. It's just stunning to me. I just think it's so pretty. I do highlight my chin because my chin is extremely small and highlighting helps bring things forward, and my chin needs all the help that it can get. Not this one, just this one. And then I do highlight right in the center of my nose, and then I highlight just the tip. And then a little bit on my forehead, right above my eyebrows. Just a tad, but like, oh my gosh, it's just such a pretty highlight. And then I'll just go back through, make sure that there's nothing on my brush. This is my favorite highlighting brush. It is the Real Techniques contour brush, but I find that it's perfect for highlighting because it's just slightly tapered right at the top, and I just feel like it just fits so perfectly right on my cheekbone. But anyway, I just go back through with nothing on my brush and just make sure that everything is blended and looks super nice. And then also maybe if there was just a tiny bit too much product, it will take that off. All right, and this is the face. This is almost all of the products that I use. Sometimes I will leave it just as is, and I just feel very glowy, very pretty. I really love the way that this looks, but for today's video, I am gonna go ahead and show you the setting spray that I do like to use sometimes. This is also new to me, but I do really like it. It's the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut long-lasting setting mist, and it smells like coconuts, which is great. I don't know how long lasting it is, but it does add a nice like dewiness to the face, but I don't feel like it makes my face sticky or makes my makeup feel like it's gonna melt off. I feel like it just adds something nice to kind of melt everything together. I'm just gonna grab my hair. One thing with this mister is it's quite intense, so you do want to make sure you hold it quite a bit of ways away from your face when you're spraying. All right. So as you can see, now I'm like real doughy. That too, but real dewy now. So I'm just gonna let this settle in. All right, now that that is all settled into my skin, this is what my skin ends up looking like. I really like the way that this looks. I feel like it's not too intense. All right, so now I'm just gonna go throw on a little bit of mascara, some lip, like a lip gloss, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so this is the finished look. I went ahead and took the same contour color that I used for my face and just took a nice fluffy brush, ran it in my crease a couple times and all over the lid, and then I went ahead and curled my eyelashes and used 2 coats of the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise mascara. I feel like everybody knows that this is one of the best drugstore mascaras at this point. But for my lower lashes, I actually use the Maybelline Lash Discovery Mini Brush Mascara, and it really is a mini brush. It's really small, and I have really wonky lower lash lashes and they get really clumpy really easily, and so I find that this is a really nice thing to use and that it really helps keep everything separated, not get too clumped together, and I can get them really like nice and defined. So I had my eyebrows done for the whole video, and then I forgot that I never mentioned what eyebrow pencil I use. It is also Drugstore. It is the NYX Precision Brow Pencil. It looks like this. It comes in this like really nice, almost looks like it has a stiletto heel on the end of it. And I do use the shade Taupe. Even though I have red hair, I find that a lot of like, first of all, a lot of drugstore like makeup brands don't have a like red hair option, and if they do, it's usually auburn, which is way too dark for me. Even though I do have red hair, it's very light red. It's very like strawberry blonde-ish, and so auburn a lot of times is just way too dark for me. And so since taupe is sort of like a neutral color and my eyebrows are warm tone naturally, I find that just using taupe helps, like it makes it warm and match my hair color because my eyebrows are already warm, if that makes sense. Because yeah, I feel like it's like, oh yeah, you have red hair, so here's one eyebrow pencil, but then like blonde has light blonde, dark blonde, ash blonde, taupe, dark brown, light brown, medium brown, but for red hair you only get one. And so yeah, I just use taupe. That's my long explanation. And then for my lips, I really like this gloss. It's just like super easy pigment, like nothing too intense, like a Your Lips But Better sort of gloss. This is the Revlon Kiss Plumping Lip Cream. It's not actually plumping. You don't really feel any sort of plumping on your lips. It's just like maybe cold. Feels a little like cold and menthol-y, but it's not plumping by any means of the word. And so, yeah, this is the finished product. I hope you guys really liked this little foundation routine. Let me know down in the comments if you liked it, what you want to see from me next. Let me know what your favorite drugstore products are. Do you like any of the products that I mentioned? Leave me some recommendations. I'm always looking for new things to try at the drugstore. I'm specifically looking for eyeshadow palette recommendations from the drugstore because the last couple times I've gone, I've noticed that the like eyeshadow palettes don't exist like at the drugstore. I have one and it's like okay, but not great. So I want to know what your guys' favorite like eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore are, because that's what I'm currently on the hunt for. But yeah, so if you guys like this, if you guys like me, then please like and subscribe and let me know what you think of my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!